Localism book chats. I tell you about a book, you don't have to read it, let's go. Today we're going to be talking about David French's Divided We Fall, America's Secession Threat and How to Restore Our Nation. The book is basically about why French thinks America is in danger of facing a violent secession threat, his two disturbingly plausible suggestions for how that secession threat might play out, and his proposals for how to avoid those outcomes. French's career began when he went to Harvard Law and graduated with Latin honors. A deeply religious, conservative, libertarian-leaning, founding fathers glazer, he then went on to work for conservative darlings like the Alliance Defending Freedom. When Trump became president in 2016, French wasn't happy, and that's for a couple reasons. First, French is really religious, and so he had a moral objection to Trump's character. Second, French is a libertarian-leaning guy, and so he didn't agree ideologically with Trump's willingness to use big government as a tool to achieve conservative priorities. As a result, in 2020, when French wrote Divided We Fall, he was kind of a conservative without a home, facing a country that he felt had become increasingly divided between two parties that were running to extremes on either end of the political spectrum. French views that political division as one of four factors that are currently present in America that create a threat of potentially violent secession crises. In full, those factors are political division, regional homogenization, fear that those who live outside your region are actively planning to take away your ability to self-govern, and a willingness to be motivated by that fear to utilize violence. French then puts forward two hypothetical secession scenarios that arise from the presence of those factors. The first scenario arises when there is a devastating mass shooting in California. California's state government responds by first indicating that it will no longer respect the Second Amendment, second, instituting a program of mandatory gun seizures, and third, indicating that it will leave the United States. The conservative president, forced to choose between an unpopular and expensive military invasion to regain control of California, or simply allowing California to leave, chooses the latter option, knowing that it will ensure conservative ascendancy in the rest of the country for generations. French's second scenario involves a hypothetical future in which Democrats have packed the Supreme Court, adding new liberal Supreme Court justices. The new packed Supreme Court then issues a decision restoring a nationwide right of abortion. Southern religious states refuse to recognize this order from the packed Supreme Court, indicate that their National Guards will not federalize if requested and will remain under the control of conservative governors, and ultimately push to leave the United States. The United States federal government doesn't dare to try and militarily invade these southern areas because, as it turns out, most of America's military bases and assets are located in conservative areas, and the Army as a whole leans conservative. So what does French suggest we do to avoid these outcomes? And what does localism make of all this? Smash that subscribe button and come back next time when we'll do part 2 of our book chat on French's Divided We Fall.